And he liked big butts. Just the kind of knight of the realm I want to be. Yes, I like big butts. I'm doing some Google on this today. I was Googling away like crazy today, and I was doing the Google, and I do that. There's this research that if you go far back enough in anyone's, lineage, that everyone is descended from a king. If you go back far enough. Apparently that's true. Now, I'm not sure if it is true, but I know that I am a descendant of Paul, the king of big screen TVs, right here in Los Angeles. Apparently that's true. Everybody's a descendant of a king, because, the king was the only one getting any in the old days. Apparently. Don't know if that's true. It is true. Now, the British, though, are very fond of the royals. And I think it's because they're kind of holding on to the time when Britain ran the world. It's nostalgic. It's like, well, yes, the king can do things and the queen can do things. It's like guys that are stuck in the 1980s, with the rolled-up sleeves and the piano key ties and everything. There's a whole area of London called Chelsea that I think is trapped in the 1960s. It's like a time warp. There's the guys in the bowler hats and everything. Good morning, good morning. The Monty Python funny walk. Austin Powers is the most accurate portrayal I've ever seen of that. Carnaby Street, swinging London. Look out, missus, there's John Lennon. No, girls, back off, he's engaged. When you go there, Austin Powers movies there are not comedies, they're documentaries. But I have to say, London is a great city. If you're planning, it is a fantastic place. A lot of great stuff to see. The first time I went there, though, be careful, there's a lot of unlicensed tour guides in London. And the first time I went there, I had a tour guide. He was just taking me around London, just making stuff up. I know he was. He was like, over there, that's Michael Caine's house, and that's where I saw a dead snake, and I was coming down here once and I saw a bloke wearing a funny hat. Any questions? The big clock over there. No, it doesn't ring a bell. Don't know it. I think it's just gone up. If you want to get a decent tour of London, what you've got to do is get a London black cab in London. The London taxi drivers, they know everything about their city because they have to take an exam, a test called The Knowledge. It takes years to learn this thing. They have to memorise the names and locations of every street in London. And it's a very difficult test to pass. And then, they have to learn everything, all the different streets and routes and everything. And they're really happy about new GPS technology, you can tell me. But it's very difficult to get your cab licence in London. You've got to go through this exam. In America, getting a taxi licence is much easier. Can you make a right turn? No? Fine. There's your licence. On you go. Although, I will say the best way to see any city is with a corrupt cab driver. When I first went to New York, I was like, wow, they really have 4 Empire State Buildings? That's awesome! $600 from JFK to Manhattan, that's not bad. You take a cab in Los Angeles is something very different entirely, because you get in a cab in LA, and the first thing that happens, the driver looks down on you for taking a cab in LA, because no one takes a cab in LA. And they always get lost, and then you have to listen to the driver's idea for a screenplay. It's a cross between a taxi driver and taxi and DC cab, and it's got some taxis in it. This taxi driver meets a hot chick, yeah. The problem, though, is when you travel around now, all the places around the world start to look the same. You go to London, Gap, Starbucks, all that. To Starbucks' credit, though, every time you go to a Starbucks in a different environment, they're kind of like the Roman Empire. They take a little bit of the environment and they make it their own. Just a little bit like... In a gay neighbourhood, it's a gay Starbucks. The one I go to every day on the way here, very gay. It's on the way. Well, I drove past it. I was bi-curious, so I went in. But I went to a Starbucks in Glasgow in Scotland, and I went to the Starbucks and I asked for an extra hot double skimmed lappuccino or something. And I get it, I take the drink and I'm like, this is cold. And there's whiskey in it. And the guy's like, aye, welcome to Scotland. Enjoy your cappuccino. It's hard now to find places that are genuinely different. The last time I went to a place I thought, wow, this is really different, is I went to Sri Lanka. I was in Sri Lanka, and the capital of Sri Lanka is called Colombo. I thought, this is going to be great. Everyone's going to, you know, sound like Colombo. No, they didn't.
I'm sorry, I just have one more question. My wife loves your show. Did you kill that guy?
But what happens, like most guys, it's always guys try and do this. If I'm in any place after a couple of days, I start pretending like I really know the neighborhood. You know, I'm like, oh yeah, I know everywhere in Sri Lanka. It doesn't quite work in Sri Lanka, you know, things get lost in translation. I remember I was in this very cheap restaurant, and I was asking, and they were trying to get some food. I was very hungry. I had been drunk. It's a long story. Anyway, I couldn't understand. He was selling some kind of meat on a stick. And it was like it was meat type substance on a stick, and I'm saying, is it bok? And he said, yeah, bok. And I tasted it and I went, oh, no, that's woof. I think I might have it.
Worldwide Pants.